Are we all here? Okay, let's get this going. Good evening. Welcome to the Cortez City Council regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 26, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Would you please stand while we recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda prior to the council's vote. The mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. There's two items: the approval of the special work session and regular meeting minutes of October 12th, 2021, and the approval of the expenditure vouchers of October 26, 2021.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item is citizen participation. 6 citizens will be allowed time to address council. No member of the public shall comment more than once at any meeting, nor shall any person be seated time of another commenter. Are there any citizen participants tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. There are no presentations tonight. Under public hearings is the public hearing on the 2022 budget. Drew, do you have any comments on this?
Yes, Mayor and Council, thank you. I'd just like to introduce this public hearing to the community and just note that this is their opportunity to weigh in on the budget as it has been presented, and we look forward to hearing any comments they have.
Okay. First item is the, are there any public comments about the budget? Anyone want to weigh in? Okay, seeing none. The first item is the ordinance number 1291, series 2020.
Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, you have to close the public hearing as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we closed the public hearing. The item is ordinance number 1291, series 2021. Finance Director Kelly Koski. Good evening, Kelly.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, esteemed
evening.
council members. So I come before you this evening with ordinance number 1291, series number 2021, for second and final reading, requesting approval for the 2022 budget. It is as presented in the first reading. One note included in your packets this evening also are all of the comments that were on the ClearGov transparency webpage, so that those could also be included for the record. Does anyone have any additional questions?
Did you get any more comment in the last 2 weeks since the first reading?
We did not. I checked all of the comments this morning, and there were no new comments.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to thank the Finance Department and the City Manager for their work in kind of bringing in ClearGov. I think that openness and that process really helped, and I think us not getting any comment tonight actually speaks to the fact that we were able to hear from the citizens over the last about 6 weeks or so. So yeah, I really appreciate your work on getting a budget together, and unless anybody else has any other comments. You got one, okay.
I just have a really quick comment to kind of piggyback on what he said. I thought the process was really open and really transparent. I think that the Saturday was a well-spent period of time. It was a long day, but it was definitely worth it to hash out some of the budget priorities.
I'd like to add, you certainly have our appreciation for all the hard work you and your finance department did. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your hard work. I know that was a extra day, but I feel like it was very, very productive. And thank all of you for your hard work and your input on this process. It's greatly appreciated.
I also thank staff for all their work too, so.
Right. Thank you.
I will certainly do that.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve on second and final reading ordinance number 1291, Series 2021, approving the 2022 budget.
Second. Linda, we're ready for the vote.
Could we hold on? You did originally was a public hearing required by the charter, which is separate from the ordinance. And so we would need to present the ordinance to you for second reading, open it up for a quick public hearing, and then take a vote. I understand it feels a little weird to do it this way, but that's what the charter requires. 2 public hearings, one on the budget itself. And then if there were changes or something suggested, you would make them before you did the second reading. And then we move forward with another public hearing on the ordinance itself, not just the budget.
I think if I understood you right, Mike, we need to, I'd like to make a motion to open a public hearing on ordinance number 1291, Series 2021 at this time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll open this up for a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, okay, we'll move on.
Close the public hearing and
We'll close this period now. All right, now we can vote on the motion. Do I hear a motion on this item? Okay.
now motion to approve.
So the motion was made by Councilmember Dobry, and the second was made by Councilmember Yazzie.
Okay.
Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 28, Series 2021. City Planner Tracy Hughes. Good evening, Tracy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
This is an application for a drive-through coffee shop located at 1204 East Main Street. The lot is currently vacant, and it was a small auto dealer. It's zoned commercial highway, and a restaurant is a permitted use in this zone, and that's the best category for a coffee shop. The lot is 21,073 square feet, and the structure that's being proposed is 815 square feet. The development is mostly that small structure and drive-through lanes and some small seating areas and some parking. The access is from Main Street and will require a CDOT access permit. And the lot is in the access control plan that the city had adopted with CDOT, and the applicant discussed this with CDOT prior to submitting, and they configured the lot as requested. They will need a CDOT access permit, and we haven't heard a response from CDOT, but I'm not concerned about that because it is in the access control plan and it does show access at this location. So the applicant is proposing 12.8% of the site is landscaping, and that does meet our minimum requirement of 10%. The project meets other area standards. It has adequate parking at 11 spaces, and there's no outstanding comments for this proposal from any agencies. So staff recommends approval with the conditions as listed in the staff report.
questions? Comments?
I just have a question about procedure. Since it's a permitted use, how come it still comes to council?
Site plans in our land use code go to planning commission and city council.
Okay, no matter what, okay. Well, I'm excited to have another coffee shop because we really need one, so.
Yeah, I had one question from the coffee shop people. Are you going to have on-site places to drink coffee, or is it just drive-through? Just drive-through? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay, can I hear a motion on this item, please?
Mayor Levy, we need to open the public hearing first.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We need to open this for a public hearing. Okay. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing none? Okay. Now can we have a motion on this item? We need to close. This discussion period is closed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve Resolution Number 28, Series 2021, approving the site development plan for the construction of a coffee shop at 1204 East Main Street as submitted by Image Builders LLC with the conditions that were listed.
Second.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next item, resolution number 26, series 2021, Associate Planner Neva Connolly. Good evening, Neva.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a site plan application for an urgent care center at 1942 East Main Street, the northeast corner of Texas and Maine. The facility will be about 3,700 square feet and part of the American Family Care franchise, which has over 225 clinics nationwide. The design of the building will be in line with recently constructed AFC clinics, complete with a stucco facade and brand colors that are included in a rendering in your packet. The entire parcel that the site is located on is 16.5 acres. This is going to be constructed on the lower southwest corner of the lot on 0.66 acres, which is about just over 28,000 square feet. So it's in the commercial highway zoning district. It meets all of the minimum standards in this zoning district. The Planning and Zoning Commission met and reviewed this project on October 5th. They did add 2 conditions to the resolution concerning the height of the light poles and a error on sheet A4.1, both of which have been addressed by the applicant, and the current conditions are in your staff packet. The applicants have proposed 29 parking spaces, and 12 are required, so they more than meet the minimum parking standards. The applicant proposes 35% of the site will be landscaped, so that's just over 10,000 square feet of landscaping. Most of the plant species selected are on the Cortez recommended plant list, and all of the plants are suitable for this region. It did go out for agency review, and all of the concerns have been met by the applicants, and staff is recommending approval for this project. The applicants are here, so if you do have any questions for them, they're present.
So full access is going to be off Texas Street and not onto Main?
Correct.
Okay. And then this area where they're building, that's not going to be split from the large parcel? It's going to remain a part of it?
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
also correct, yeah.
So the urgent care center will just take up a portion of this property?
Right, yeah, the parcel is mostly rectangular, but then there's a little corner, and it's going to be just in that little southwest corner of the lot.
Okay, yeah.
And there's no development proposed at this time for that larger
Okay. All right.
16 acres.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Can I hear a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we're going to open it up for public comment. Any public comments? Okay, we'll close this public comment. Can I have a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution Number 26, Series 2021, approving the site development plan to establish an American Family Care Facility at 1942 East Main Street, as submitted by authorized Representative Jeff Likes for applicant and property owners CBERT Cortez LLC, with the 5 conditions that are listed.
Second.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Congratulations. There's no unfinished business. Under new business, this is the appointment of Cortez Youth Commission members. Recreation Supervisor Rosa Diamond, please. Rosa, would you come up, please? Good evening, Rosa. Is your mic turned on?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. That's better.
Sorry. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Sorry about that. I do have a little bit of history first. The Cortez Youth Commission was established January 19th, 2019, and through Resolution Number 2, Series 2019, and per the approved bylaws, all new applicants need to be appointed by City Council. I don't know if you guys remember, but Peyton Heitzman was the one that originally had started this. I took this over in March of 2019, or March of 2020, sorry, March of 2020. We really didn't meet last year, so we're really just kind of rebuilding this. I have 2 commissioners that are returning. They were freshmen when we started it, and they are juniors this year. And I have 2 new commissioners. I'm sorry, one of our commissioners backed out this morning. She just overcommitted herself. So Ananaba Cordova will not be appointed today. She's going to try again maybe this spring or next fall. Unfortunately, there were some situations that happened today with the school district, and none of my students were able to attend tonight. But right now we have returning Willa Rice and Jada Mitchell, and the new appointees will be Grace Shepard and Emma Olson. And we've met 3 times. I think that they are exceptional young women in our community, and I look forward to continuing to work with them throughout this year. And my recommendation is that they are approved and appointed to the Cortez Youth Commission.
Okay. Thank you, Rosa. We'd like to commend all these young people for their willingness to step up and serve the community. You have our deep appreciation. Any comments from the council? Okay.
No, you go ahead. I was just going to.
I was just going to say that I know some of these kiddos, and they really are upstanding, and I'm not surprised to see them volunteering for something like this.
Absolutely. They've taken the initiative, and they've already started trying to plan some different community events that they can help host.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint the 4 members that Rosa mentioned a little bit ago to the Cortez Youth Commission.
Second.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 27, series 2021. Associate Planner Neva Connolly again, please. Good evening, Neva.
Good evening again. All right, so this is an application for a minor subdivision submitted by property owners Harvey Hackett and Ted Gray to create a two-lot minor subdivision at 1213 South Broadway. The proposed Lot 1, which is mislabeled on the plat as Lot 2, is 4.26 acres and has access from the CDOT frontage road and McElmo Street. Lot 2, the southern lot, is 8.14 acres and will take future access from the frontage road. Both lots are vacant. The property is zoned commercial highway. The proposal will not create any new roads or utilities, and future development on these lots have not been proposed at this time. When the proposals comes through, they will go through the site plan process, so you will see any development on there. So there are a couple of issues on the plat that will be corrected before it goes to be recorded. But at this time, staff is recommending approval of the gray lot, the gray two-lot minor subdivision.
Thank you. Thank you, Neva. Are there any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, could I have a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Gray two-lot minor subdivision as submitted by owners Harvey Hackett and Ted Gray through Council Resolution Number 27, Series 2021, with the three conditions outlined above, and authorize the mayor to sign the plat.
Second.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a quasi-judicial item. We'll set a public hearing for new beer and wine liquor license for Jody Jarling, DBA, a Zoo Gallery. City Attorney Mike Green Smith. Go ahead, Mike.
This is one of the easier ones for this evening. You just need to set the public hearing for November 23rd, 2021. At that point in time, we'll review the application, hold the public hearing, and grant or not grant the license as you see fit.
I'll do that.
Any questions? Or comments? Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that council set a public hearing date for November 23rd, 2021 for review of a new beer and wine liquor license for Jody Jarling, doing business as Zoo Gallery, located at 48 West Main Street, Cortez, and the neighborhood boundaries set as the city limits.
Second.
Second.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 31, Series 2021, City Attorney Mike Green.
Some time ago, the city acquired an interest in the Cortez 21 pipeline. We're a member of the association. We transport Montezuma Valley irrigation water shares through that pipeline system for the benefit of, I think, some parks and open space and other things in or around Brandon's Gate. For some reason, nobody was ever appointed to be the city's representative to the association. Some business recently came up, and for some reason I was getting notices. So the resolution would appoint the city manager or his designee. This is in general what we do for all the boards, is appoint the city manager as the representative to vote on behalf of the city. Boards like this. So staff would recommend you adopt the resolution appointing the city manager or his or her designee as the representative of the city to the Cortez 21 Pipeline Association.
So I don't understand where this pipe is.
It is out at the end of Tucker Lane, and it runs over towards Brandon's Gate. And it starts up at, there's a head gate on the Keith Evans property. up on, I'm not exactly sure where it is on the northern edge, but that's where it comes in. And ma'am, you're exactly right. It's a little-known irrigation transportation system the city uses for its water. But it's the only way we can get irrigation water over to our obligations in Brandon's Gate.
And is this different than like the lateral?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's actually, if you go out to the end of Tucker Lane, I believe there's a box out there that you can see from the street that's to the south of the lateral. And then there's MVIC piping to the north of the lateral.
Is this association, do they just meet as needed? I mean, this isn't like a...
They have a regular and annual meeting, and then they have other meetings as needed. They just had one it was new business, a new member, asking to admit a new member. And so it is rather important that the city have a representative on this, and it's rather important that the city manager be aware of what's going on and making decisions on behalf of the city.
So does the city own the infrastructure and then the water is MVI?
No, we would be a member of the association which owns.
Okay.
This was built with, I'll get the acronym wrong, but with federal money to transport MVIC water for a group of people who use it. Some of them are off of County Road L. Some of them are further along inside the city. And we use it to get to Brandon's Gate.
Thank you, Mike. Any other questions or comments from the council? Could I entertain a motion on this item?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution number 31, Series 2021, designating the city manager or his designee as the city's representative to the Cortez 21 Pipeline Association.
Second.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer. Medina.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is direction of the band shell. City Manager Drew Sanders.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's come time, and you guys heard in the workshop session this evening, and we've had other presentations on the proposed band shell. It's really come to a point that we need to get some council direction on where do we go with this. I think we've been pretty clear that it is a very good idea. A lot of people like this idea, but when it comes down to the brass tacks on how do we administratively do this and how do we make this work for the city has become more problematic. The original council resolution says that the council authorizes the Friends of the Band Shell to raise money and build it in Centennial Park. Right now, for us to put something together, we don't have an agreement on an actual site plan in Centennial Park. I know that the Friends of the Band Shell want it right near the library. Staff very much opposes that, and there are other sites that we could do that at. But the real important part here is they're looking at raising $500,000, and as I understand it, there hasn't been $1 raised towards making this happen. So we've been given different information on how that money would be raised, everything from banks to foundations. And we're just trying to piece it together on where do we go with this. And if council directs us to move forward with this, we will absolutely do it. It is going to take some additional council action in the future to settle on a site plan and so on. But I also think that, we're 2 years into this. At some point, we have to sunset it or have, some money raised and some action towards that. This is something that, we would love to get moving forward on. It's just that we can't move forward under these conditions. So I'm just asking for some council direction, clear direction one way or another. Either we adopt it and move on, or perhaps we, ask them to come in with a new plan or, perhaps raise some money first and so on.
Thank you, Drew. Council, do you have comments, questions?
As I mentioned before, this is something that I would like to see move forward, and one of my reasons really is the fact that a previous council looked at, discussed, had information come from this organization, and passed a resolution basically, to me, at least in my estimation, shows support for the project. So I feel like not moving forward might kind of send the message that, we're not honoring what previous council's intent was. I'd also say that part of the resolution talks about to be determined at a future date, and, it's been at least 7 months since we talked about this, since it was really entertained here at council. So I do feel like, it's not fair to leave somebody hanging for a longer period of time. So I do agree that we have to kind of move forward, and in my estimation, it would be in a positive way.
I agree with Matt. I think based on where we are right now, I think the best movement might be to just table it for the time being until we can gather more information and go from there.
So with the concerns that I raised in the workshop, I feel like without an organization that's able to maintain the band shell, maintain the facility around it, I feel like it wouldn't be appropriate for the council to move forward with this project. To do a partnership project like this, we need a partner that is a stable and functional entity, I think is probably the clearest way I can say it. And I don't see that understanding of what the maintenance and what the ongoing involvement and fundraising and all of that will be involved going forward. So I don't think it would be appropriate. I would worry that, like with some other projects in the past, the city would get stuck with the maintenance or get stuck with a facility that is not that's not maintained or upheld to the standard of a city park. So that's my concern.
On a personal level, I would love to see something like this in our community, but I am concerned that promises were made on behalf of the library by maybe people who didn't have the authority to, because our current, it does not meld with our expansion plan or with the current library director. They're not on board. Is there a possibility, why was the park at 7th Street taken off the table?
Oh, the old high school site?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Bob, would you go up to the mic, please?
it's an interesting question, because that was actually where the idea began. I lived down in the neighborhood of that the old high school site, and I went to a meeting there. Mike was there as well, and what I learned was there'd been months of planning that had gone into a design for that space down there, and it certainly didn't include a band shell. And the second problem is there aren't any trees down there. So if you put in a band shell, you're expecting the audience to sit out in the full sun, not an idea that's going to work. And by the way, that's one of the features of the site that we like, is there's a bunch of mature trees there, and the audience can sit in the shade. But that's the answer to your question, is we did consider that site. It was the first one that we considered.
I'll say then that I would support it, because if we're going to have it in Centennial Park, I would support it because our priority is the library expansion. If it doesn't interfere with that and you can get like the library on board, and if you can minimize the removal of some of those trees for the band shell, because I'm assuming that that's going to have to happen, putting it so close to where all those trees live.
No, there's going to be no trees lost at the Centennial Park site.
Okay.
Could I just ask a clarifying question, since I am the newest one on council? Where are we with the library expansion? I've heard that thrown out several times. Is there a plan? Like what, I mean, I hear the idea, but like, where are we on that idea? Are we talking 5, 10 years down the road? When are we talking?
It is in our 5-year capital plan. I don't recall where it's at, but it's towards the end of that, and I want to say about year 4, if I recall, but that's just off the top of my head. But it is in our 5-year capital plan.
And it is fairly well planned, and it's not just a dream. I'm remembering drawings and the whole setup that, shows what we want it to be, what it was going to be used for. It's not just a pipe dream. It was, I think we paid a lot of money for it, if I remember too. There was an architectural firm from the Front Range came and did it. I think they did the Dolores Library, if I remember correctly, and some Mancus.
Yeah.
Something else to think about, and this is maybe a reason to at least table this. We don't have an agreement of any sort with this organization. And lately I've been playing catch up, doing agreements after organizations have done things, put it in the ground or built it. And it's a bit problematic sometimes to do that without having a clear understanding of what needs to be in the agreement to make things happen. Trying to do the agreement afterwards isn't always a good idea. So my recommendation would be if council wants to look at this, we need to have an agreement before you approve putting this thing anywhere, because you've already brought up questions of maintenance, you've brought up questions of construction, trees. We need something that says no trees shall, be lost in this project, or it shall be here. Maybe it needs to go through the planning process formally. We need to look at this, the process, how to do this, and I think it's much more involved than just you folks simply saying tonight, yeah, you can go ahead. Because we don't know where it's going to be. We don't know if it can be built where they want to build it. That's a low spot. Maybe there's geology, maybe there's water, maybe there's other things. And I'm remembering as to why we didn't put a bathroom down there. So there's all these things that we don't know, and I think it might be difficult to get the agreement in place if we don't have it first.
If this was to be built on private property, is this something we would allow? Is this a use that we allow?
I'm not a planner, but I believe it would be, but I don't know if it fits this site. There's been questions raised about parking, there's been questions raised about the neighborhood, and so I don't know that it would pass muster for the planners in the park. If it was on private property, it would depend where it was. And there would be, parking would have to be there depending on location, everything.
Mike, what would this agreement look like, and who would be involved in writing up the agreement?
Well, it would be between the city and whatever the formal organization is, if there is an incorporation or an association or whatever. And it would outline the process for the project. It would outline the terms and conditions that needed to be met before things were ever built. It might even get into what's going to be built. There's only architectural renderings. There's no engineer's report. There's no, like if you were building a building for business, we don't know if, like I say, the soils will accept it where they want to put it. I don't know. Stranger things have happened. What looks like on the surface may or may not be below ground. So we would need to get into all of those things. we would be involving the planner, perhaps the building department, the library, the parks department, the city manager. It's not just me and the fellow sitting down and throwing something on paper. There's a lot of input needs to come into this, a lot of time.
So it would be advantageous for this whole process to move forward to have some kind of agreement in place?
I believe so, and I'm sort of speaking maybe out of turn, but this is the lawyer in me saying, we got no idea what's going to happen here. We don't have no commitment, and we've made no commitment. And so normally, I promise to do something if you do something is what a contract is. I promise to pay, you promise to sell me something. We need some of that here before we commit to pretty much taking a piece of the park out of being used for something else, especially if it may not happen because we didn't get into all the contingencies.
I would like for us to have like a decision tonight so that we're not continuing to string along the potential for this project. What if we go through this whole process of getting an agreement in place and we still say no? So that's my thoughts on it.
Well, Mayor, Councilmember Yazzie, I think we also need to consider that, it's more than that. What if it doesn't get completed? What if funding dries up? What if we're left with a half-built structure? There's all kinds of things that we'll have to have in that agreement to, make it so that, we're left whole in the end on this. We might also wish to consider, if the council wants to make this happen, perhaps the better thing to do, instead of having them building it on city property, is for them to provide the funding for the city to build it on city property. That way we ensure that it's up to standard and that we have the funding and everything we need in there. That would actually make it a lot simpler.
That's kind of a new idea. I hadn't thought about the city building it. It's something to entertain. I guess, any other comments from the council? Okay. Orly, do you have anything to add?
Well, I agree with the location on it and everything, but the location is, the building, I agree with the building, but not on city property, because everything we look at, every time we look at it, something's always added to the parks, and the reason for the parks is for the public, but I think if it's a different location, it'd be okay, but I wouldn't like to sit in city property. Private property would be, I think, a lot better.
Yeah. That's a difficult situation. I was a supporter of the band shell right from the start. It sounded like a good idea. It looks like we're running into problems with the nuts and bolts of funding and getting funding and getting agreements on this. Not quite sure. What about the council? Do you want to vote on this? Or?
I feel like saying that we'll move forward on it doesn't necessarily commit us to the exact location and all those sorts of things. I don't disagree with some of the things that Mike has said about really fleshing out the agreement and saying, who will be responsible for what are the terms, that sort of thing. So, and not at this point to say, yes, we'll move forward with it would really mean talking about some of those things contractually, et cetera. And if at that point, there are parts of the contract that aren't agreeable, then, then it's not going to work. But I don't see the harm in not saying that we wouldn't go ahead and move forward with the idea. And having said that, I have a job. I'm really busy. You guys have a job. I more or less know what you do. You're really busy. And I do know that this could add a lot to city staff plate. I'm saying that, recognizing that that's the reality. But I don't see necessarily the harm in in moving forward and looking at potentially, a contract about a variety of things, location, upkeep, maintenance, those sorts of things.
So, yeah, like what Matt's saying is if we say yes, we're basically saying like, yes, we want staff time to be used to answer these questions and kind of evaluate this.
Sorry. What I think would be a more pointed way, and Mr. Sanders and I haven't talked about this, so he can pipe in and tell me no, but I think the direction should be from council for us to get an agreement first to see if we can reach one, and then bring it back to you folks and work it that way. Instead of just committing to do it, give us a task. We need to get an agreement, bring it back to you to see if it'll work.
And with that, we need to understand, or council needs to understand, that there will be a outlay for that. Staff time's budgeted, but most of what we pay our city attorney is not. That's a contractual agreement, and we are liable to run way over on what we're contracted to pay. We can do all that. I think when it comes to actually coming forward with an agreement, I'm trying to figure out still who do we have an agreement with. We have a loose association of interested people, so who do we have that with? And I think that needs to be established as well. And we could do that as part of that process, but I think the right answer has been arrived at, that maybe council directs staff to move forward with seeking an agreement on this and keep it that simple.
Simple answer is if there's no organization to have an agreement with, we're probably not going to be able to have an agreement. And, so I mean, these are things we can work through that can be fixed or worked or changed or whatever, but so I think Mr. Sanders hit it right on the head. We need to work through the agreement and make sure all the pieces are in place before we go forward.
Based on the information we've received, I think our best movement at this point would be to table our decision rather than.
So I have a question about kind of the timeline to figure out if we can make an agreement, if there's an organization to make an agreement with. Do you, staff or Attorney Green, do you have an idea of, could you have an answer at our next meeting of if there is an organization that you can work with, or I'm trying to limit the staff time. So if we make any decision that to move forward with that we can say by X date, we either have the start of an agreement and then we can kind of continue to move forward, or we just put it down, put it to bed.
I can tomorrow morning look at the Secretary of State website and see if there's some sort of an organization in place, a corporation, an LLC, or whatever. That's a doable thing. To get the agreement in place is going to be, I don't see how we could come to you with a full agreement by the next meeting. I'm not sure we could do it by the end of November, maybe even we'll have one meeting in December. I'm going to guess to have a comprehensive agreement that makes sense would be after the first of the year. There's several other agreements on my plate right now for the city that are taking more time than we thought, but they're coming along, and we'll have those to you hopefully. But first meeting in December, first meeting in January would be the comfort. And that's for me, I'm not committing, I don't know what staff's got on their plate.
Well, and I think the safe bet is let's shoot for the first meeting in January. And, we should have a very good idea of where we can land on it by then. And then at least a progress report for council on whether we're at an impasse or we can even do this. But I think we can commit until next meeting to at least say whether or not we have an entity to deal with.
Okay. I kind of agree that if we move forward and try to work on an agreement with the entities, that would be my vote.
Do you need a vote, or do you think you've had enough direction to?
We need, no,
You need a
we
mo- you want a
make
motion?
To direct staff.
I guess we'd need a motion, and it is a kind of a guess if this is what you're comfortable with, to direct staff to work towards an agreement for the, by the first meeting in January, and that you would, if we were in court, we'd continue it. If you want to table it until that meeting, whatever language you want to use.
I'll make a motion. Okay. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to investigate the potential of an agreement around the band shell and an organization with the band shell, and I guess to be revisited in our January meeting. Does that cover us? Okay.
Second.
Lucero,
Nay.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Nay.
Levy.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Are there any city attorney's reports? None. City manager report?
Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. Before I start, I just wanted to thank council for approving the site plan for the coffee shop. I was really trying to figure out how I was going to explain that to the finance department if that was not to pass, so thank you for that. This evening, I've got 3 topics for the previous 2 weeks. Actually 4, because I got another little item here. First of all, it's a little bit of disappointing news, but it seems to be going throughout our community right now. Our library staff was forced to cancel their visit with the Cortez Middle School students that usually exceeds about 100 students due to a COVID outbreak in that school. The library staff were pretty disappointed about it. They were looking forward to this, but certainly the safety of staff and students must come first, and I applaud Director Sharpenstein for making that call. A couple items with the police department. They're really struggling right now to deal with offenders due to the necessity to attenuate enforcement activities while the jail restrictions are in place, resulting from COVID infections, both with staff and inmates. They're working to educate upset residents on the current situation and are looking at all available alternatives. This is a really difficult position for the police department and the community. I think everybody is trying to do their best to do what we can. I don't think there's any blame to be placed. I think it's just a matter of understanding the situation. And, I would call upon our residents to try to be as tolerant as possible and understand the law enforcement is doing everything they can. So there's a little frustration with our officers. They are having to respond repeatedly at times to deal with the same offenders. So it's just tough. Conversely, the police department completed their first ever Citizen Academy course offering, and they felt it was a great success. So the sheriff's office has done it in the past, but Cortez PD never has, and now they have. They had about 8 persons go through it this time. They're hoping to attract as many as 12 attendees at their next session in 2022. Our IT department is currently in the middle of updating our city email addresses to the new domain, which is cortezco.gov. So now all of our email addresses are moving to that .gov address. This is a pretty large undertaking for our IT staff, and they're all working on it almost day and night right now. Additionally, they're searching for the best location to set up an emergency alternative public safety dispatch site somewhere within a government building that we can use just in case dispatch becomes unusable for some reason. And then just wanted to let council know that we, like so many others, are dealing with acute equipment, vehicle, and other shortages due to the supply chain disruptions in our country. Every one of our vehicles, and Rick's here, and we'll get a nod from him, but everything that we've ordered, we can't even get. We're not even sure we're going to get them. So just be aware. And then our employee highlight this evening, and I don't know if Rosa's still here or not, but I'd like to highlight Rosa Diamond, who works for the Parks and Recreation Department. Rosa is involved in a wide range of initiatives and activities, all of which require her to interact in a positive way with children and the public. As most of us know, she is a strong ambassador for the city of Cortez. Most recently, she's been involved with reconstituting the Youth Commission at Montezuma Cortez High School, and the members of which you appointed this evening. Rosa's always got such a positive attitude, and anybody who works with her knows what a joy she is to associate with. And so I'd just like to thank Rosa for all she does. She does just such great work. So thank you. Yeah. Well, there she is. Hi, Rosa. Anyway, that's my report this evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and Rosa, thank you again. Appreciate everything you do. You're an asset to the community and the city. Okay, let's see, the committee reports. The council had a workshop.
Before we dive into that, I just wanted to ask for an update on the department head positions, Public Works and Parks and Rec.
Yeah, thank you for asking, Mayor and Councilmember Medina.
And the audits.
And what?
And the audits.
And the
That's
audits,
any
okay.
changed?
Yeah,
Okay,
fair enough.
thank you.
Let me start with the audits. There's progress being done. They've added more people to our 2018 audit, which we're currently in the midst of. So it's in progress and being done. Everything that can be done is in progress. I think they're to the point that they're leaving our finance department now done, and they're working through the data. So I just spoke to Drew Gorgay with Columbia Limited just before the meeting tonight, as a matter of fact. He is saying that we will have a candidate pool. He's trying to work through a couple of things, but Parks and Recreation, there's been a lot more interest in that than our Public Works department. And, although he's trying to track down a couple of really good candidates, perhaps to come to Cortez. So it's in progress, and we're very hopeful. So thank you for asking that.
What's the timeline on that?
Mayor and Councilmember Medina, that closes for filing on November 8th, and then he's got to go through their process to screen the candidates, and I believe he said December 8th, somewhere in there is when he will present that to that candidate pool to us. And so we'll be planning to go through a testing process then.
Okay, thank you.
And then, Mayor, if I also may just give an update, now that the budget has been passed, the two of the new positions authorized by council, we will get those posted in the very near future and start trying to gather candidates so we can hopefully hire by the first of the year when that budget takes effect. Thank you.
Okay, let's see, committee reports. In the workshop this evening, we discussed the band shell. And then we had a presentation to Judge Jim Shaner, who is retiring as a municipal judge. We had a cake, and we presented him with a gavel and our appreciation for his years of service. I was out of town when we had the library board meeting, but I spoke to Isabella Sharpenstein this afternoon, and she gave me the notes from the library advisory board meeting, and she's been working with the Lohr Foundation for patron computer furniture, and they're looking at the entire setup, or just the tables, or one table and long chairs, depending on what they decide. They're also looking at new children's furniture, which is adjustable chairs and movable tables, in particular for the activity club. And they applied for a grant with Onward, and asked the Friends of the Library to pay the difference. Self-checkouts got the green light from IT, and they will order 2 units in November, which is quite a time saver in busy hours. I've attended libraries that had the self-checkout, and it's a very smooth operation. You just set your books on the table, and it scans it and charges it to your account, and same way on returning them. It's a very smooth operation, and it's very up-to-date. We have a new adult programming staff member on board, and our first in-person program, November 5th at 1 p.m. It's going to be a local author. Her name is Susan Carpenter Noble. And that's, like I said, November 5th at 1 p.m. Starting November 1st, the hours will be expanded until 5 p.m. And we may be selling books online again. And the final item was they had a visit with Catherine Foster, who's a local historian and storyteller, about a storybook or story walk, which had been discussed earlier. The first would be a park in the city with possibility of expanding and put it on the trails at Carpenter or Hawkins as well, in collaboration with Dolores and Mancus Libraries. That pretty much concludes the Library Advisory Board notes. Are there other committee reports from the council?
I'll chime in. I don't necessarily have a committee report since we didn't have Parks and Rec this month, and Golf Advisory is at 7 in the morning, so I'll be there bright and early. I did want to say, because I was listening to the commissioner meeting this morning, or afternoon, that there's a critical shortage of foster parents in the county. So I was hoping to have a larger crowd to talk to to say this, but spread the word. We desperately need foster parents. And if you're interested in being a foster parent, contact the Department of Social Services.
-6-4024B. Discussion will be on broadband strategy. And that is, we're going to be adjourned for executive session at this point.
We need a motion and a second and a vote on that, please.
Yes. Could I have a motion on that, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss broadband issues with our attorney.
Second.
Kiefhoffer.
Second. Oh, whoa, second, I just did. Aye.
Rainey. Rainey. Lucero.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
probably asleep out there in the truck right now. See you guys. See you.
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay. The time is now 9:13 p.m. and the executive session has been concluded. Participants in the executive session were Drew Sanders, Rachel Medina, Mike Green, Arlena Yazzie, Matt Kiefhofer, Robert Dobry, David Hucken. Yeah, David. Orly Lucero, myself, and Rachel Medina. Let's see. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matter not included in the motion to go into the executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is adjournment. Are there any other comments? Okay, this meeting is hereby concluded. Have a good evening.